like this little anchorage, but we've had enough of these flies already. We can't even sit out in our cockpit. They just crawl on your face, up your nose and your ears. They don't bite. They're just so annoying. We can't enjoy our time here.
There are so many. I'm so glad they don't bite, but there's just so many. So on our scouting that we did earlier today on the dinghy, there is an anchorage just on the other side of Salsa Puedes. It's supposed to be the north anchorage, but we have to go out and around the island. It's about 5 miles. Take us a little over an hour to get there. Hopefully there aren't as many bobos. I don't know what it is, but right now, right here, they've hatched and have gone crazy.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Ah! Let's pull the anchor up.
Let's do it. What are you doing down there, babe?
Reinforcing the fly swatter. I got a little crazy and I broke it. But there's not much that duct tape doesn't fix, right? Besides, then them little... I know, I did. But those little things can fit through the cracks.
They're tiny, tiny flies. It doesn't take like full on like "Arr!" all you got to kill these things. Like, you just gotta hit them with something. You don't have to be so aggressive.
No more bobos, no more.
It actually is amazing how satisfying it is to kill a freaking fly after they've been up your nose and in your eyes and in your ears. You can only ignore them for so long. You know, but this is all part of the cruising experience, so you just gotta embrace it. She's multitasking. Killing flies, vacuuming the cockpit. So the little anchorage we're going into is really, really narrow. It's 300 feet wide, according to the chart, but there's 50 feet and 50 feet on each side where there's, you know, rocks and shallow. So it's basically we have 200 feet to anchor our boat in. We're gonna go right down the center of this thing, and then we're just gonna do a little back and fill. We're gonna get to the depth we want, then we're gonna turn the helm all the way to starboard as hard as it will, and then we'll hit reverse. Our prop walk is to port. So when we hit reverse, the stern will kick the port, which will actually help pivot us around our corner, our turn. So we can do a full 180 pretty much inside the space of our boat. You know, we need about 40 feet, 50 feet if we do this right. It's really not that bad once you figure out your prop walk. And you want to give it a little quick burst of throttle so that it kicks the stern around instead of pushes you forward. And once you get forward momentum, you just put it in reverse. So you stop your momentum going forward. If you don't really want to make any momentum going backwards, you'll stop your turn. It's pretty simple. That's the plan. Hopefully we don't hit anything.
He's making me do it, so hopefully I don't hit anything.
We're at the mouth of the little entrance here. Getting ready to sneak on into this little cove. Jessica's at the helm. She's pretty good at steering our boat. She always helms when we go to anchor. I feel like the strongest person should be at the bow and not at the helm. If something goes wrong, anyone can run the helm, anyone can drive the boat. They can be taught how to do that, but sometimes you just need some brute strength. And I don't want her up here by this chain and stuff. I don't need her to get hurt. I grew up around, I did construction my whole life, so I grew up around machinery all the time, and I'm pretty, you know, pretty content being around it. It doesn't bother me. I know how to keep my fingers out of the way.
Hopefully I don't hit anything. I'm driving. We don't hit anything. Can you imagine? Here we go.
It looked wider on the chart than it does right now as we're going in. It looks really, really narrow. Good on paper, but maybe not in reality. I see shadows on the right, so there's rocks to the starboard side. Yeah. You see those? So stay to port. Right, we're currently in neutral, just coasting in here. Oh, nice and slow as we come in here. Man, I feel like I can almost just reach out and touch those cliffs, those walls. It's so narrow. our depth?
15, 16, 15.
So it got a little bit skinnier as we came in, and then it widens up. So we're gonna come in here a little bit further. Right now, I'm even starting to get nervous.
11.
So we're coming in. We just hit 10 feet of water under the keel. I think we're about to start our turn. Turn hard. Then put it in forward. Give it a big burst of fuel. Okay, good. Neutral, not yet. We're neutral right now, spinning.
Going forward. So now I want to go reverse.
Okay, we're gonna hit reverse because we got a little bit of forward momentum. Give it a little bit of gas. There we go. Back to forward. Fuel. Reverse. Stop. Forward. It's a 10-foot tide, so we gotta get to about 15 feet under our keel, under our water line, and then about 3 more boat lengths up. And then we're gonna drop. We're really close. All right, we dropped in 20 feet of water. We've got almost 100 feet of chain out, which means if we swing, we will hit shore probably. So we are going to figure out how to get a stern anchor out. There we go. It's probably obvious we don't stern anchor very often. Right now the bow is pointing the wrong way. We got to spin the boat like we spun 180 now because of the current. The dinghy's already been out, so we're just going to use the dinghy to throw our stern anchor out instead of trying to back up, drop the anchor, move forward, and do all that jazz. We're just going to make this easy as we can.
What's that called? The way you do your lines? You do your cords like that at home too?
I did my climbing ropes like that. It's called a bird's nest. And you make some coils and you daisy chain around the coils, basically do, and the line never gets tangled up. I used to be able to throw out like 200 feet of climbing rope down a cave and it would just unravel as it went down. It's really nice.
It looks like a bird's nest though. It looks like a mess, but it really does work.
All right, we're using the dinghy to spin Haraya back the way we want her and to set this stern anchor.
It's too hard. You gotta hold on to that.
Jessica's not too good about driving the dinghy in reverse.
I can do anything. I set my mind to.
All right, well, we got the stern anchor dropped. Now we're just gonna pull in on it and set the thing. We're just gonna pull in some line. Eventually we'll put it on a winch. See if we can't get it to set. It is all sand back there and we let out like 200 feet of line. There we go. What do you think? You like how we're sitting? Pretty centered?
No, we're crooked. I thought we were going to be straight. Is this not going to hold us straight? We'll swing back and forth or what?
No, it'll hold us pretty straight.
Turn around and look at.
Yeah, I know. I see that.
That doesn't matter. It's just this.
We're okay. We're gonna hit land. That's the goal.
What? That is not the goal. The goal is not to hit land. No, I think we're okay. It'll hold us off these rocks over here. That is not shadows of the mountain. Those are rocks. This is the opening. And there are no shadows on this side, so I guess that's fine. That was fairly easy. I think that's the way it should be.
We're actually gonna pull a little bit of the anchor chain in a little bit and just get us a little bit tighter. All right, we just shortened up our anchor chain on our bow. I ended up with about 125 feet out and I only need about 100. And now we're just sucking the stern line back in again and getting our boat sitting right where we want it. I gotta admit, this is a little bit strange, stern anchored in this little cove. The dinghy is facing the wrong way of the boat. The wind is blowing from our stern, which is weird. We're really close to shore, which I don't like.
Oh, we're not that close.
Oh, we're pretty close.
We're not that close.
We're pretty close. This shore here is maybe 75 feet away. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty close. Like I said, hopefully the stern anchor holds. We don't really do this. The only time we've really done this is to bring the bow into a swell so we can sleep. We've never actually just anchored like this before. We think we're being smart, having the bow actually facing out in case something really bad happens. We can just dump the stern anchor on a float and we can get out of here, come back and grab the anchor later without having to back up or anything. Yeah, we'll see. We plan on being here for 4 or 5 days, so the half hour it took us to do that is not a big deal. And there are hardly any bobos here, so that was nice. Our plan worked to get out of that. We might be able to enjoy our cockpit now. Well, I'm gonna try to relax. I'm gonna keep an eye on these anchors. I said this is a whole new experience for us and I'm not quite sure I like it yet. I don't trust it yet, but as soon as we're here a couple days, I will. There's not supposed to be any real strong winds. So we should be just fine. And the only winds that can come in here are out of the south, which is on our stern, now the north, which is on our bow. The only fetch that can come in is on the north, which is on our bow. I think we're just used to hanging on a, you know, a 55-pound anchor and a bunch of chain and not this little damper. I'm sure we'll be fine.
My own chauffeur everywhere I go. Take me here. Take me there. Away from the bugs. Out for our little dinghy run, and we are just amazed at how many birds are here and just animals in general. You're looking at the mountain and all of a sudden we realize that it's moving. And they're like little pelican heads. They're just everywhere, all over the island. And gulls and oyster catchers, and we've seen some blue-footed boobies that I'm definitely gonna come back with a real camera and try to get some pictures of them because they're just in the cliffs all around us. There's definitely chicks. We've seen little fuzzy gull chicks, and the gulls are chasing off the pelicans and making all kinds of racket. And there's bobos everywhere. I'm glad they don't bite, but they're annoying. Annoying. Pay to play, man. Pay to play. We gotta go faster so they don't, they're these weak little bugs, and if the wind is up enough, they go away because they can't fly in it, they hide. So we need to go faster. Actually, this might be where the turtles are. Look for the turtle. I'm still out here floating around trying to find the turtle that we've seen. We've seen about 4 or 5 of them. One's really big, so I know there's at least 2. Because we've seen a big one and a couple small ones. So, just waiting for them to pop their head up again.
Unfortunately, the swell's picked up from the north, and it's going to continue for the next 3 or 4 days out of the north like this. And we're sitting here hobby horsing, and we're kind of tired of it. It's hard to get stuff done, and the boat's bouncing around. And we're gonna move like, I don't know, 300-400 yards from where we are to the other side of the sand spit. We're just going right there. But to get there, we gotta go clear around the island, which is 4 or 5 miles. I find that humorous. So we've just kind of tidied up real quick, nothing real fancy. We're not really put away. We're just gonna motor around to the other side and re-anchor this thing so we can stay here another 4 or 5 days. We like this place. We don't want to leave quite yet. It's just kind of funny, being a cruiser, your entire life and your entire schedule and where you're gonna be is all determined by the weather, you know, and the swell. But we like to be comfortable. There's no reason to be miserable. It's supposed to be fun. Supposed to be having a good time.
Let me out! Let me out! Hey, will you close the hatch?
Yeah. We're gonna pull the snubbers, pull the anchor, and get out of here.